Hey guys, welcome back. So we've rebranded the channel. This is now Crypto Haven, and I just wanted to do something a little bit different here and kind of go a different direction. And so I wanted a new name and all that. Crypto Haven is kind of a throwback to one of the first videos I did back in 2020, I think the summer, on Haven Protocol. I did a few videos on that. I still really like the project. They've had a lot of problems, and their team is still working. And I hope they recover because, I mean, it's just a really cool project. Also, Crypto Haven I want to be basically a place where we can go and tune out all the noise that's out there. There's a lot of YouTube channels that are doing a great job of throwing alpha at you for 20 minutes straight and bombarding you with an overload of information. Twitter is full of that as well. Unfortunately, you have to use those resources to get information, unless you just have like one guy that you talk to by phone or text, or he's just giving you all the insider information that you need. If you don't have that, then you've got to go on YouTube and you've got to go on Twitter and you've got to sort through all this garbage to get some information as part of your research. But you cannot get it like it's easy to get swept away with all that information. And the bottom line is that even if you watch a video with 30 minutes that's jam-packed full of alpha and like new projects that nobody's heard about, like you're literally only going to end up using maybe 1% of that information anyways, that you're going to take it and run with it and try and do something with it. The most important thing out of all of this is not all that information. The most important thing is what you do with it. So that falls back on what's taking place inside your head. Do you know how to play this game? Do you know what moves to make and how to do them and all that kind of stuff? I made an absolute fortune with crypto in 2017, and we didn't have all the YouTube channels we have now with all the influencers. We didn't have Twitter. I didn't go on Twitter because I didn't even have a Twitter account. All I did was research a handful of coins, pick the one I thought was the strongest, and I followed a few basic principles, and I made an absolute fortune. That's all you need to do, and that's what this channel is going to be about. So, I mean, yeah, I've made a lot of videos in the past on different coins and stuff like that, and I'll still do some of that stuff, but what I really want to do now is something that I've been doing only for, like a closed group, which is kind of coach and help people on how do you really do this and what things do you need to do. I mean, let's face it, if everybody coming into crypto knew how to properly do all these things, then they'd all be getting rich every single bull run. Nobody would be losing money. Everybody would be making millions of dollars because that opportunity is there. But so many people come in and they don't know what to do. And what's even more mind-blowing to me is sometimes I'll talk to people and I'll tell them what to do and they still won't do it. So there's like these mental issues that people have to overcome. And that's more of the content that I'm going to try to focus on with this channel. So here we have it, a sanctuary. So with that being said, I want to look at right now with this video, where are we in this stage of the bull run? And what should we expect from here? One of the things that I did recently is I looked back at the last bull run or the last cycle, and I looked in basically the same year that we're in now, which would be 2020. And something I found that was pretty interesting is from the lows of 2020 in this March here where we had the crash for the pandemic. You guys remember that? The world's deadliest pandemic ever. I'm surprised that there's any human beings left on this planet. It was so deadly, thank God, that we locked down the planet for 2 years. So we had that crash, and after that, and this was a black swan event, so we may or may not run into something like this moving forward. This year, there's a lot of stuff going on. We have elections all over the country. One of the biggest ones that will be in the spotlight will be in the United States. There was maybe some funny business that went on in the last time. But let's face it, we have people in power that would like to stay in power because they get a lot of benefits from that. And so who knows what they're going to do or try to pull to maintain that power, not least of which may be starting World War III, with Iran starting over there or something. Who knows what could happen? We have to be prepared for that mentally as well as with our holdings. We want to be aware of all possibilities here. Hopefully nothing happens and we'll just kind of go from where we're at now to start this bull run. But what we saw here from these lows back to the end of the year, Bitcoin did, roughly 700% in gains. And what I found out when I went back and looked at a cross section of different altcoins that were around back then is that With a buy and hold strategy, Bitcoin outperformed most of the altcoins. Okay, not all of them, but quite a few of them. And that's not to say that the altcoins didn't perform at all. A lot of them had a big move up till about August or so, and then they sold off. So maybe some of them outperformed Bitcoin during that move, but then sold off. And that's all the more reason that you should be looking to scale out when you get to the top of a big move with whatever coin you're holding. I mean, history doesn't have to repeat itself every cycle, but we've got the halving this year. We've got an ETF that's active and working, and people can, like, more money can come into Bitcoin. So it would not surprise me if the same kind of basic play happened here and Bitcoin just goes crazy by the end of this year. And some of the altcoins, they have some of their moves, but then kind of sell off a little bit. But we see Bitcoin from lows to highs outperforming. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And it's another good reason that you should keep in mind that if you are going to sell out of a position because it's reached a peak after a 1,000% move or whatever, it might not be a bad idea to look at scaling out of that position into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin may still be moving relative to the dollar or whatever fiat currency you're in, or certainly some of the altcoins. So we have Bitcoin right here on this weekly chart going sideways. It's in this nice little range, and we're not really seeing a lot of selling pressure. And the 1 week we had it got bought up pretty hard. So this is all a good sign for now. It doesn't mean it can't sell off at some point in the future, but so far so good from what we're seeing here. The Bitcoin dominance chart looks like we've got a topping, potentially a triple top. I mean, this is a weekly chart. This is a substantial time frame to be seeing 3 tests of this level right here where we've got this line drawn and it's being rejected. So if this finally does turn and drops back down below this middle Bollinger Band, then it's probably going to be game on for altcoins, and we're going to see this big move that most people are expecting. I think that we're going to see that potentially pretty soon, barring any black swan events. The total 3, same thing. We're in this little range right here. This is a good sign. It's better than just coming up here and selling off. This shows that despite some of the sell-offs that we've seen in this recent correction, we're getting a lot of people buying back in, and this is what you want to be doing anyways. If you are scaling out at a top, you want to be buying back in when the time is right. And we'll look at an example or two of that. But if we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart and we say, well, we're in the 50s right here. Last bull run we were as high as in the 70s, and back in 2017 Bitcoin dominance was over 95%. So are we really going to get much of a bull run in altcoins? Because obviously in 2017 there was quite a ways to drop here, because I mean all this money was mostly in Bitcoin at 95+%. So there was a lot of money to go into altcoins. If we've already got 50% of the equity in altcoins right now, do we really have that much room to drop? I mean, because not everybody's going to sell their Bitcoin to go into altcoins, but that could be a concerning way to look at this. But at the same time, if you look at total 3, we're at like almost 500 billion in equity here in these altcoins, right? Minus Bitcoin and Ethereum is what this is representing. And we look back here, in 2017. I mean, we were at like 15 billion or something. So there's a lot more money flowing out there, and even more to come. So I think we're going to get this pump no matter what. So my estimations that I did a while back was we see possibly a $10 trillion total market cap for crypto by the end of this bull run. So, you're looking at your altcoin total 3 chart coming up here somewhere. So I think we've got quite a bit of ways to go. Ethereum, we see the same pattern. It's holding up really nicely. We're in a range. We'll look at a few coins here real quick. They're all in this range. Avalanche, like a lot of coins, had this move here, and it's since sold off. It's corrected like 45%. I just want to point this out here, guys. This is a 45% correction. If you go back to the top of the last bull run and you look at the correction, you're looking at like 90-some%. So the bear market was a 90-some% correction. This little correction we had here from December till now is basically like half of what you went through during the last bear market. Why on earth would you want to hold your coins through all of that? Now, if you've got enough equity in there, it might make sense to do that. But for a lot of people, if your account is still relatively small, you want to learn how to scale out properly at the top of these big moves. Pull that equity out. And then what do you want to do? If you're staying in this same coin, or maybe you're shopping for, you're open to other coins that are in your watch list of eligible candidates for where to park your money. That's another strategy that we can cover a different time. But this is the time down here that you're looking to buy back in. You could be scaling in some down here, but for sure down here, this is where I would be scaling in absolutely for sure. So that it looks like this potential correction is done. A lot of the altcoins that had this move in late last year and have corrected are in a similar pattern right now. This is the time to be scaling back in. If you have extra cash on the sidelines, I would be looking to put it in right here at these levels, especially with the confirmations that we're getting here with these little breakouts. You can draw trend lines. You've got breakouts taking place here. This is Solana. Same thing. This is the time to be scaling back in. It does not mean that it can't go lower. It can also go sideways, but we're most likely, these were probably some of the lowest lows that we're going to get without standing any other black swan events. Same thing, we've got Binance Coin. Binance Coin's interesting because it did not really fall quite as much. Of course, on the other hand, so we got a 15% correction. It didn't really gain as much as some of these other coins as well. But Binance Coin looks really good right now. Okay? It's in this little range like everything else. All of these altcoins are basically gearing up. People are accumulating in these levels in anticipation of this next leg up. Chainlink, we got the same thing. They've broken out of this range already. Chainlink was a precursor in the last bull run. Back in 2019, they broke out and started going. All the other altcoins were dormant. Chainlink was moving nonstop. And here we kind of see the same thing. This weekly candle right here, we're getting close to the weekly close. Right? This is not the start of a new candle. This is in just a couple hours, this candle will be closed. And that means that this will be a solid breakout of this range for Chainlink. That's significant. We have Celestia here holding up in this range. Injective holding up in this range. Now they're testing the bottom of the range. Again, this would be a perfect opportunity to buy more at some of these lower prices. Because what? You've got just built in there, you've got a 30% gain to the top of the range. So this is why like in the last video, I said, you scale out at some of these tops. That way you can buy back in and get even more. It's more important if you have a smaller account. But even if you have a large account, I would be doing the same thing. We have Immutable X here, same range that we're holding. Okay, these coins are not selling off. When they get to the bottom here of whatever their respective range is, they're getting bought back up. Caspa has been a popular coin too. Caspa has sold off a little bit more, not from a percentage standpoint necessarily, with 50% retracement, but it's come down here a little bit more. It's not going sideways quite as much. It's kind of dropping a little bit more. But this is a perfect example of how you can game this system by scaling out during these top weeks and then scaling back in after you give it time to correct. These coins have been correcting for a month and a half now. You've got plenty of time to let the market correct. Then you can buy back in and have even more of a bag than you had when you had it up here. And this is how you can exponentially grow your account. But this is a valid strategy to make a lot of money with crypto. In addition to just, if you just want to buy and hold and you've bought the bottom, you can take that strategy. But going in and out of these bigger moves, these are the type of strategies that you really want to employ if you're not doing that already. So the bottom line is, I think that right now we are on the verge with most of these coins, Bitcoin included, of another major push upwards. And that could take place within a couple of weeks, or possibly within another couple of months. I mean, we could easily drift sideways and downwards for that amount of time. But I think that most likely, we've seen this in almost every bull run, we have a big push up through the summer, and in August we hit a peak and we sell off a little bit in September and October. And maybe we get another little push towards the end of the year, or maybe it starts again in January of next year. But this next move is going to be monstrous. So you need to be prepared for that. You need to be positioned in your coins that you have decided are going to do well this bull run. And you need to stay focused during this time where we're just going sideways and not much is going on, and you're hearing all this. Like, if you're listening to all these other YouTube channels and they're throwing all this information at you, you may be tempted to want to move stuff around and all that kind of stuff. You need to stay focused. Now, if you have a coin that has not moved and it looks like it's half dead, possibly you want to reallocate into something that is getting attention right now. You know, some of these coins where they've had a move and they're going sideways, what this means is this is consolidating in preparation for the next leg up. Now, if you have a coin that has had a move and then completely sold off and is back down here, that's not a good sign. That is not a healthy looking coin. It doesn't have a healthy investor base supporting it. That is not where you want to be parking your money necessarily at this stage of the game. During the bear market, of course, I mean, nobody's dumping money into coins, so they're all down here. But this is what you would want to see now. Something that has had its bear market and then a little bit of a move up and then maybe some consolidation. If it's sold off, that's fine, but not back down to these levels. Okay, a little bit of a correction is fine, and we want to see consolidation. The more of a correction could be good because you're getting lower prices. And some of the smaller market cap coins will sell off more than some of the bigger, like Solana, which has got such a big market cap, or Binance Coin. They're not going to sell off as much because it takes more to move these coins. So stay focused and get ready, because if you're not mentally prepared, it's easy to get into a state of euphoria and make bad decisions or make no decisions, which could also end up being a bad decision during this next giant move up that we're going to get. And you don't want to fuck this up. You want to maximize these moves, and you want to stay focused on what's the most important thing here. So get your positions locked and loaded. Don't get discouraged. Don't be depressed if you're still holding this and you're watching your equity just go up and down and do nothing. The move is coming. And if you've not sat through a big bull run or even a giant move up with a fully loaded bag, it's going to be a lot to take in. So you need to be prepared for that now. So we'll continue to talk more about that later in other videos. For now, we'll end this video, and we'll see you guys again soon in the next one.